You are here with By the Cover. Today we're going to be reviewing Near the Bone by Christina Henry. This book was 320 pages and took me 2 days to read. I would rate the book a 6.5 out of 10. This review will contain spoilers, a lot of them, so if you don't want to hear those, click off now. First off, trigger warnings. This book deals with abuse in many forms. It is abundant, so if that's not something you want to read, do not read the book. The subject matter is very heavy, and while the book is entertaining, it's not really a good time because you're reading about a lot of abuse. So first, my likes with this book. I thought it was very accurate to the mentality of people that have been abused. I really enjoyed the slow growth of the primary character, which is what the book is mostly about. I like that small bits of Maddie's story are revealed throughout the book, which kept it very interesting. And I thought both Maddie and William were really well-developed characters, and William was a pretty great antagonist, just a horrible human being. The pacing of this book was just okay. It didn't really pick up till about 43% of the way through the book, and when it did pick up, it kept breaking the pacing before picking it up again, and that cycle kept repeating till the end of the book. I'm okay with the slow pace because the slow pacing was attributed to the primary character's growth, and that was part of the book that I did enjoy. But overall, this book was a slow burn, but a fast read, if that makes any sense at all. The pages did turn quickly, but the story didn't move along at a marathon's pace. So as far as my dislikes of the book, I didn't think that the atmosphere was done as well as it could have been. I thought it was just kind of there. There wasn't any real emphasis put on it. The secondary characters' behaviors were completely unrealistic. Let me set the scene. These 3 college student friends go into the mountains to find evidence of this unknown creature. They discover this abuse victim who they decide to help, and they are told that this thing kills its prey, dissects its prey, and sorts their bones and organs in its cave, and also hangs its prey from trees. The creature takes one of their friends to kill him, and the first thing these unarmed, inexperienced, unprepared college students feel the need to do is go running towards the creature to save their friend. Does that sound realistic? The creature then hangs their dead friend from his intestines in a tree, and their behavior is not modified from that point onwards. They just are in shock, and then they pretty much go back to being the same people they were before that happened, and their behavior isn't modified at all from that point onwards. That doesn't happen once, that happens multiple times. I know if I saw my best friends get murdered and hung from a tree by their entrails, I'd probably be a little scarred from that point onwards, and my behavior may be just slightly different. There's a character named CP who's meant to be the comic relief. His behavior never really changes, even after watching 2 of his best friends hung up by their entrails in a tree, and even with him getting his hand cut off. He's just kind of the jovial and joking man he's been from the beginning. Now, there are a couple moments he recognizes and talks about his friends and is a little sad, but it would seem to me he'd be a lot more affected by those events. So the behavior of the side characters was a bit unrealistic to me. The creature was not fully fleshed out and was left ambiguous in the end. You never really truly understood its motivations or behaviors. You never actually saw the creature fully, and it really did not have a pattern or meaning to what it did in the end. At the beginning, it kills smaller prey, dissects them, and sorts their bones and organs in its cave. Later, it's stated that the creature chose and took the people that it did because they were not threats. Then later, it cuts off CP's hand because he was a threat and he had a gun, but it didn't kill him or take him. It also never killed William, but it did attack him, and William is the biggest threat of all. So is it taking and killing people because they are threats or they are not threats? Who knows? I think it just wasn't fleshed out. With this book, there is a lot of inner dialogue with one person. You're spending a lot of time in one person's head. There is a lot of it. So if that's not something you're going to enjoy, I would consider that when deciding to read this book. I thought the twists, if you can call them that, were fairly predictable. And the last thing I really did not like about this book One of the primary plot points of the story that they kept alluding to was that Maddie had a sister named Heather. William had made Maddie forget both her sister and her mother, but they did exist, and Maddie slowly remembered them through time. When Maddie meets the three side characters, they mention that they read about Maddie's kidnapping in newspaper articles. When Maddie asks about her sister Heather, they say they don't remember reading anything about another kid in that story. This mystery is just dropped and never resolved. It's mentioned later that Heather wasn't home and was staying at a friend's house or some such, but that's all you ever hear. There's no explanation as to why it wasn't mentioned in the newspaper, which it would have been, and there is no follow-up after that, so you get no answers. Now, if she was only mentioned once or something, I could understand, but she's brought up over and over and over and over again. So it's not satisfying to not have that resolved. Overall, I think this book is flawed for the reasons that I mentioned, but I still thought it was a good read. That's all I've got. Catch you later.